Happy Sunday and Memorial Day weekend to you. I'm enjoying the pleasant breeze and the cooler temperatures here outside in the shade. It's only about 85. It will get hotter later today and later in the summer, of course, because Roswell, New Mexico is known for being hotter than say Albuquerque, for example. We are in a slightly different region and we don't have the same elevation as they do in Albuquerque. So yes, the triple digits are not unusual here. Not looking forward to them. Last year we had so many days with triple digits. It was actually record breaking. So I guess that's unusual, but yeah, I'm not looking forward to any days with triple digits. Not my favorite. I do like the warmth. I like the sun. I shouldn't because I get burnt too easily, but that is really beside the point. I love to feel the sun. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. I hope you had a chance to watch my Albuquerque interviews. I had a great time. I went to see my son at his state track meet and also got to visit family. It was Mother's Day and I got to see my mom and all my children. Well, I didn't get to see one of my children. She had to work and had other plans that weekend, and so I was not able to see her, but I got to see my other children. It was a great weekend. I loved it. I do enjoy my visits to Albuquerque. I used to want to live in Albuquerque, but I think I'm happier here in Roswell now. And Albuquerque has just gotten crazier than it used to be. It did not used to be as crazy as it is now. There didn't used to be quite the same homeless population and the same crime rate. Yeah, I think that we've always been the Wild West in New Mexico, so we've always had a fairly high crime rate per capita, but it's just gotten out of control, and I don't think I would want to live in Albuquerque at this point. But I do enjoy visiting, and I enjoyed making the very short interview videos. I made 3, and I will put the links to them in the description box so that if you have not seen them, you can go watch them. I think the longest one is 20 minutes and the shortest one is about 13 minutes. So it won't take that much time out of your day, I assure you, and they were fun to make. And one of them's of my son and how he felt about his track meet before, during and after. So yeah, that was fun. And he of course got to spend the weekend well, with his team, but also with me, so that was fun. We had a good weekend, aside from the flat tire, but he got to learn how to change a flat tire and put the little donut on, so that was a learning experience for him. And oh yes, and then the other thing that it was funny because one of the videos, well, it was a longer interview video that my daughter did of me, but we decided we didn't want to post it. But I just grabbed a little bit and posted it. I'll put that link there too, but it's on dragonflies and the dragonfly on my cover. And then I went to visit my parents, and I was sitting in their desertscape yard. I saw these giant golden dragonflies, and I don't normally see them at this time of year. I don't think it's completely unusual for them to be out at this time. Well, maybe it is unusual. It's not out of the realm of possibility that you can see them in early summer or late spring, but it's not very usual. They're usually out in the late summer here in New Mexico, and I thought that was a really beautiful I don't know, just like one of those gifts that God gives you when you're not expecting it. And when I say big, I mean giant golden dragonflies, and they were flying around. And my dad is a kind of a natural flow gardener and desertscape landscaper. He has just beautiful trees and bushes and like rosemary bushes and just various, he's got all kinds of trees and bushes. I'm sorry, my brain is kind of going blank, but I mean, he's got apples and peaches, and then he's got all the stuff in his garden. He has all kinds of like desert willows and other trees, and yes, lavender and rosemary and yarrow and all this. Well, I don't actually, come to think about it, I don't know if he has yarrow. I had a yarrow plant here in my garden here, but something dug it up. Let's not talk about that. I was very unhappy about that. Anyway, I had a rosemary too, but it finally just bit the dust during a frost and it never came back to life. Same thing with my lavender. I haven't had good luck in this yard with anything. There are some beautiful roses though that were here already, some classic climbing roses and some I don't know the difference between rose breeds, but some large, beautiful, not classic roses too. And so that's enough about landscape and dragonflies. And so now I want to get on a probably not so happy subject, and that is politics. I don't like to talk about politics, but we had after Mass today, we had this group called Jacob from the Holy Land. Now, the guy who comes to our parish, his name is not actually Jacob, but he's from the Holy Land, and he sells hand-carved items of olive wood and in rosaries and crosses and holy oil, various things that come from the Holy Land, and they're to support Christians in the Holy Land. And I really am opposed to the United States government being so involved in foreign wars. And they have been, for well over 100 years, and I don't think they're going to stop now just because some of us don't really like it. And I feel the same way about the Israel-Palestine question. I wish that we would not get involved in other people's politics. However, I find it a little strange that if you are pro-Palestine, you are a progressive or a liberal, and if you are pro-Israel, you are a conservative Republican Christian, because it leaves the Holy Land Christians completely out of the debate at all. Do we even, as Christian people, do we even consider the Palestinian Christians, for example, or is it all about just supporting a Jewish nation, and the Israelite nation, and just leave out all of the Christians that are there that are being harmed by this warfare? It seems like we don't ever talk about that or bring that up. But I have a Jerusalem cross from that Jacob in the Holy Land was selling, and he actually gave this to me as a gift because I've helped him come to the parish. That's why he was very kind and gave it to me. But it's kind of neat because when you fold it up, it has like the it's like the the steering wheel on a boat, whatever you call that. Very technical term there, but it also unfolds like this, and it's a Jerusalem cross. I think it's beautiful, and I think that we should all, as Christians, be supporting the Christians of the Holy Land. That was essentially what the Crusades were about, or at least what they were meant to be about, and a lot of our Europeans actually died in the Crusades trying to protect Christians either in the Holy Land or Christians that were at risk of being completely slaughtered or overcome by Muslim raiders. And that was the whole idea of the Crusades. And now it seems like it's all about, well, I don't know. That's the only politics that I'm going to get into. We should be supporting the Christians in the Holy Land. And so if you get an opportunity to have a group like Jacob from the Holy Land come to your parish, you could also support those Christians, because that population has greatly diminished. It used to be much larger, and these are people that have been there for generations. And even if they're Palestinian Christians, and I know that's really against, conservative politics is to be pro-Palestine, but what about pro-Palestinian Christians? Are we going to be pro them? Okay, I don't care if that makes me unpopular. We should be pro our Christian brethren around the world, especially those who are in dire straits like those in the Holy Land, the people who are actually at risk of losing their lives or their homes. Those are the people that we should be supporting. Anyway, and then I wanted to get into a couple of current event type issues. I really, honestly, I don't understand some of the popular social media talking points. And one of them, you know, we've all seen it. The Harrison, is his name, Butker, the football player who gave a commencement speech at a private Catholic college, and everybody came unglued about it. Now, I don't get it because I didn't even go to my own graduation from college, so I didn't even listen to my own commencement speech. So I don't know about these people who go around listening to commencement speeches of private colleges. It makes no sense to me at all. But I mean, why? And I think, you know, I also don't go around listening to football players making speeches. Maybe I should. I mean, that might give me a different and intriguing perspective into the world, because I would guess that any professional sportsman, sports player, anybody who makes it to that level probably is slightly more intelligent than your average. And not that that means that much, but they have a different perspective from your average ordinary person, because they couldn't have gotten where they are if they didn't have, well, you know, obviously athletic ability, but it also, you have to have good visual spatial skills, you have to have good reflexes, you have to have good instincts, and so I think that in general they might be intriguing to to listen to. But in general, I've never thought I'm going to go listen to a football player give a commencement speech. Like, that would never even occur to me to do. So I don't really know why this got so popular or so unpopular, depending on who you're talking to. He really just gave very Catholic talking points. I mean, I didn't agree with everything he said. Like, I mean, it's all rhetoric, right? It's a speech, so we're talking rhetorical. We're not talking exact theological points, like when he said that his wife didn't start living until she was a homemaker and mother. Well, I mean, obviously she did. She started living at conception. That's the real Catholic theological point. But this is rhetoric, and it just probably meant that she's living her best life. And I'm sure that if she disagreed with that, she probably wouldn't have liked his speech very much. And he probably, judging by the amount of appreciation he showed for her in that speech, he probably let her read it before he read it. I mean, isn't that what men usually do? Have their wives go over their speeches and edit them and give their impressions? I mean, most husbands do that, I think. I mean, that would be a positive husband-wife marital relationship, when you actually care about your husband or wife's opinion, right? Yeah, I mean, I would think so. And then the other thing I want to talk, I mean, other than that, it was like, it just was normal, ordinary, pretty basic conservative Catholic talking points, you know. Like, you're never going to agree with one person on everything, so. But it was definitely not really controversial, and judging by the amount of clapping he got, he was pretty popular with his audience too. I don't think, you know, he didn't get booed off stage or anything like that. Anyway, so the other topic that I wanted to discuss very quickly is the Pope and his interview, or yes, his interview with 60 Minutes. It wasn't 60 Minutes. Maybe they don't do 60 Minutes anymore. I don't really know. But I really don't understand the young Protestants who like to make videos talking about how unbiblical the Pope's answers were. So I'm not really sure why people half his age, without 2,000 years of theological tradition, think that they are capable of telling the Pope that he's being anti-biblical. A lot of what he said was just really his opinion. Some of it was theological, yes, but some of it was just his opinion anyway, so it does not matter. But instead of trying to make sense of what he said, for example, he said on one hand that all humans are sinners in need of the gospel, and then ended with that the heart of humans is basically or fundamentally good. Now, I read the whole speech in Spanish because I wanted to make sure it was not being mistranslated. The Pope is one of the most mistranslated pulled from context, lied about in the media, lied about more often than Trump, really. And so I wanted to read his original transcript, so I read it in Spanish, and I can read Spanish, so that works for me. And yeah, he basically said the same thing in Spanish that he was translated as saying in English, so I don't have any quibbles with that translation. But if you want to make sense of it, you have to think about the fact that God created humans in his image, that his creation was good, and he called it good. And that is really all the Pope means when he says that the heart is fundamentally good. My phone camera is cutting off my videos, probably because I am running out of storage, but I went and cleaned up a whole bunch of I cleaned out so many old videos, so I usually delete them right away, but I had let them stack up. So I went and deleted them, but apparently I didn't delete them in at their source or something. I don't know. So anyway, I did get really cut off, and I'm starting a new video, which is giving me less time than the last one. So I will have to spend some time cleaning out the memory on my phone, and so that I don't run into this problem again. These phones don't have they don't even have a spot to put an extra disc for storage. They just don't even come with that. These Samsung phones, I guess, I don't know if they want you to buy more, they just want you to upgrade. I don't know. Probably that's probably it. Or it's beyond me why that I cannot save on a disc. Anyway, getting back to what the Pope said, I think that when it comes to interpreting the Bible and being biblically correct, that just makes me cringe when Protestants say this. Now, this is not biblically correct. Like, according to whom? According to your Protestant mindset and your traditions that you're filtering the translation through, your English translation that you chose to read. Or, I mean, I know we have KJV only Protestants out there, but most of them aren't really like that. Most of them will accept a wide variety of translations, with some being sort of like off base and others being better. Like, when I was growing up, the New American Standard was considered one of the best translations, and there are some biblical scholars who still believe that that's true. But that the New American Standard, that it's not a Catholic version. You generally use the NAB, which is the New American Bible, which is, the Catholic edition. But I don't even think that's the best version of the Bible. It's just what happens to be used in American masses. Is the New American Bible translation. That's what's used in masses across the United States. So, I mean, obviously I accept it. Sometimes I just don't think it's I don't know if prettiest would be the right word, but it's a little crude sometimes, I think. A little crude and not as nuanced as it could be. Like, I really prefer the Revised Standard Version Catholic edition better. I think I just like reading it better. That's just my opinion. Nobody has to listen to me. So yeah, it annoys me when Protestants use that talking point. Obviously, the Bible is inerrant, and Catholics believe that the Bible is inerrant just as the Protestants do, but they don't necessarily translate it the same way. And I think that when it comes to conundrums that you run across in the Bible, you have to make sense of those conundrums. And one of those conundrums is the fact that the Bible says that all humans are sinners in need of salvation. It also says that the heart is desperately wicked. It says that no man is good. Only God is good. I mean, all of these are true biblical verses, okay? These come directly from the Bible, but so does the fact that humans are all made in God's image and that God called his creation good. So on some fundamental, like if you get down to the core of our being, we know what morality is because we are created in God's image, and so we have this sort of goodness in us. Even if we are not Christians, we have it. I mean, the Pope said this in context with people being heroic and facing the future and surviving through tragic and dire circumstances. And it is true that the human spirit can be heroic and self-sacrificial no matter what their religious beliefs are. And I think that is what he means. Like, this is something that's imprinted on the human soul from God, because we are all created in God's image. And God did say his creation was good, and he said that before the fall of mankind. I understand that, but he didn't negate that. He didn't say, creation's terrible, I think that I should just, take it all back. He didn't do that. So you have to make sense of these conundrums, and I would not say that Pope Francis is the most theological. I don't think that's his bent, is to be theologically, to make those fine theological distinctions. And I think what he is known for is his big heart and his love for humans and his desire to help humans. That is what he is known for. And he's been known for that for years. Like, even before he was the Pope, he was known for helping people, being generous to others, just laying everything down for other people. That's what he was known for. And now he's an old man. And you know what? Those traits, they become more pronounced the older you are. So if you are or they should, and I think that a lot of times when it comes to, especially with trying to be intellectual and exact in our language choices, some of that just falls away the older you get, and you just don't care anymore. You want to be understood, but more than that, you want to give to others and be kind-hearted. And some of this, like, wrangling over words here and words there and what is the most theologically correct, it kind of just falls away. I mean, to me it does. I mean, yes, I get that we need to preserve the gospel, but he gave the gospel, and that is that all humans are sinful and in need of the gospel, that we're in need of Jesus Christ and what he did on the cross for us. We need that. All of us do. All humans. There is no human that doesn't need God, does not need the work of Jesus on the cross. There's no human that is outside that. And I think, you just have to make sense of the fact that humans are capable of doing what is right, and it's not just, this would be true biblically as well, that we can do all three things through Christ who strengthens us, and it's really Christ in us that helps us to do good. But it doesn't explain why people who are not followers of Christ are capable of great good and great sacrifice to others. So it's something to think about. If you can read Spanish, of course, go read his speech in Spanish. I would always start there, always start with the original language. I don't know Italian, so when he gives a speech or writes something in Italian, I can't read it, and it's not really close enough to Spanish to me to be able to read it, honestly. Yeah, I can pick up on a few words here and there, but it's just not close enough, or maybe I'm not smart enough. I don't know, one or the other. But I would always encourage you to, if you don't know Spanish or Italian, then go find an official source and find the entire context of what he said and why he said it, because he is one of the most misquoted, ripped out of context people in the media, and the media lies about him, and they want to use him for their agenda. That is why progressive Christians vacillate between loathing him and loving him, because they love the image that the media will paint of him until the image wants to make him the bad guy who is against progressive politics, like, he's come down against transgenderism, for example. And he still to this day will not bless same-sex unions. That was a big lie perpetrated by the media. It's just not true. And so progressives like him for a while until they realize that he's not who they thought they were, and then they loathe him again. Yeah. And there is a great post out there, or a video out there by Blue Collar Catholic, whose videos, I love his videos. I've been following him for at least probably 4 years now, honestly. It's been a long time, come to think of it. But he has a couple of videos in which he makes a case for Pope Francis to be a living saint who should become a saint. I'll just put the links. He's got 2 videos. I think one of them's a little bit longer than the others, and I think he makes a really good case. And I think that he has a more accurate view of Pope Francis than the average media idiot. Okay, that's all I have to say. Have a great rest of your weekend. I hope to have another interview to put out sometime soon. Since I released those 3 videos, one right after the other, I just took a break from doing interviews for a while, but I will get back into it. The hardest part is actually pinning somebody down. I've already said this on doing the interview, because a lot of people say they will, and then they're like, I don't think I want to do that. They have second thoughts on whether it's wise to do that. And maybe it's really unwise being on YouTube anyway. Maybe social media was always an unwise choice. But I don't know what a poor author is supposed to do who's trying to sell books. And I don't know how I would sell books if I had no social media. Yeah, I mean, I sell books to people I know. They're like, oh, Jill, you write books? And then a lot of them will go buy my book. Well, great. It doesn't make me a bestseller. Not that this YouTube channel is going to make me a bestseller unless you help me. So I will, of course, always put a link to my Amazon author page for my Roswell novels. Roswell Murder Mystery Ghost Stories. And you're going to love it.